Hey, here's some of the hard-working guys who are making the sand replenishment come together here in Surfside, California. Thanks, guys. Appreciate all you do. Hey, everybody. We made it to Tikt. Greg Bates and I are here in beautiful Tikt, Baja, California, getting ready to go by the Tikt Beer Factory, which is up here on the left. We're going to take you through the wine country with us, and then we're going to ultimately end up in Ensenada, Baja, California Norte, where we're going to meet up with Diego Nuno and some other friends. We've got a lot of great experiences and adventures to share with you on this trip. So stay tuned. You're in Baja, California, and it's another edition of Friedman Adventures. Hey everybody, we are here in the Malecon in beautiful Ensenada, and I want to introduce you to a friend of mine who's got some great sport fishing opportunities for you here in beautiful Ensenada. Giovanni, ¿cómo estás? ¿Qué
Hola,
tal?
amigo, mucho gusto.
Gusto verte, hermano.
Mío también, mucho gusto.
¿A dónde vamos ahora?
Vamos al barco.
Ok, vamos al barco. Un buen six-pack, ¿verdad?
Aquí tenemos el grill para hacer, para
Oh,
cocinar
my
nuestros
God.
pescados. Aquí, mira.
¿O carne asada? Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California. This gorgeous Martin Luther King Day. Happy MLK Day to each and every one of you. That quote by Martin Luther King always resonates with me, that you don't judge somebody by the color of their skin, rather by the content of their character. That was true then, it remains true today, and a colorblind society is exactly what we should continue to strive for. It is a beautiful quote and a wonderful day to remember Martin Luther King for sure. Hey, I hope you are having a great day. It is like summertime down here right now. I know I'm a little bit late, and I am running on empty because I drove in from Mexico around 3-4 this morning, and man, when I got across the border, I was like, am I going to make this or not, man? I better stop for some coffee right now. I managed to pull in here to Surfside with Greg Bates, who managed to make it to Fontana after that, after we had a busy 24 hours south of the border, transporting so much clothing and so much more down to Mexico. Dave Schaff from Schaff Air Conditioning and Heating, he gave us $100. We handed that to a family down there in near Ensenada that really needed the help. And Dave, thank you so much for doing that. And I'll have a lot of content, a lot of video to show you exactly what we accomplished down there. And I got to do that with my friend Diego Nuno, who lives in Ensenada, Baja, California, Mexico. Diego, of course, is a deckhand on board the Royal Star. And I got to meet his wife, and I got to meet his daughter, who's going to be a doctor someday, and I got to meet his son. What a lovely family, and I felt very honored to be welcomed into their home and spend some precious moments with my friend Diego. And of course, Diego drove us all around as we were on the hunt for looking for people who could use shoes, clothing, some funds, anything that we could do to help those folks out. And it was indeed an honor to do that. Hey, we've got a lot to cover with you. You know, we're going to go south of the border into Mexico, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's biting down there. We'll talk about the Southern California bite also. There's still great lobster hoop netting going on. There's some great wintertime bass fishing going on. It seems weird to say wintertime bass because the sun is nice and warm and beautiful here this morning. It's gorgeous here on the beach. Also, we'll be talking about some of the whale watching opportunities you have here in Southern California. We've got long range. We've got so much more. You know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Oh, is that good? Man, I need that. I am definitely running on empty. And we've got a lot of content coming out your way here today, because I may take a little nappy poo at some time during the day today, because tonight, Tackle Shop Confessions with Sam De La Torre from, of course, over there at Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California. We'll be live at 6 p.m. Hope you can join us. Ask Sam any question about tackle or anything more. And of course, I can answer all your Baja questions. I was just down there. We're going to be going back to Baja really, really soon. And we're going to go do some barred perch fishing. I can't wait to do that. By the way, if you want the best seafood in Rosarito La Huerita. That's the place you want to visit. My friend Tony Lozano has owned that place since 1980. Actually, his mother started out La Huerita, and then Tony has taken it over. Such great seafood. When you go across the border, you get to Rosarito Beach. I can't recommend that place enough. It is absolutely fantastic. All right, let's start you out in Cabo San Lucas. Talk a little marlin. Marlin bite down there in Cabo is okay. It's not wide open, but striped marlin are biting down there. There's occasional wahoo. There's some pretty good dorado fishing at times, and some yellowfin tuna also in that neck of the woods. So Cabo's still on the bite. Up there in La Paz, we continue to see, when the wind lays down, occasional marlin, dorado. There's some yellowfin tuna. You got to get out of the windy scenarios, but when you do, there's been some good fishing, good yellowtail action in Loreto, Baja California Sur, and then out there around San Quintin, there has been some really good yellowtail action this winter. It's been excellent fishing for yellows, a lot of yo-yo ironfish. There's rock cod to help fill in when those fish bite or when they do bite, because, you know, you can go out and catch yellows and then go catch a bunch of that stuff, and then some halibut also in that neck of the woods. In the Ensenada area, I got to talk to a lot of people. Victor from Blackfin Sword Fishing was telling me, really good on the Big Bonita. If you want to focus on calico bass, Victor said that's available. Great rock fishing going on, occasional yellowtail for the Ensenada-based boats also, so that's good stuff. You know, rockfish is closed here in Southern California, so you're not allowed to fish rockfish, but if you're on a San Diego-based boat, they can hang a left-hand turn. They can go into Mexican waters where they are able to fish for rockfish down there in Mexico. But here in Southern California, that is closed right now. Some good rock fishing for the boats that are heading down there. And very soon, boats will be running down to Punta Colinet. Now, Colinet is 120 miles down below the border. And in that neck of the woods, you will see tremendous rock fishing, but occasional really good yellowtail action. And sometimes it settles in and bites every single trip. And I'm talking 20 yellows on a trip, 50 yellows on a trip, 100 plus, forkies on a trip. Sometimes it gets that good. And I got high hopes for our yellowtail bite so far here, as the indicators are all around. We see it down there in San Quintin already. We see so much market squid up and down the Southern California coast. There's even squid down the Baja coast around Sasipuedes. There's been a little bit around La Jolla. There's a lot of great reasons for yellows to come here, because that magnet, that food source, that important integral part of the food chain, that market squid, is present in so many different areas. And of course, that's not only going to attract yellowtail, but white sea bass and halibut and so many other species. Bodes well for the 24 spring bite. But we may see some really good yellowtail action manifest here in the wintertime anytime soon. San Diego-based boats, again, will make those day-and-a-half trips down to Colinet. Here in the LA Orange County area, down to San Diego and up to Ventura, there is still some really good wintertime bass fishing going on. Of course, those bass live in the structure. You want to fish as heavy a line as you can. In other words, sometimes the fish are really finicky. You got to drop down to 20 pound, playing a little bit of a dangerous game there, because those fish run you right back into that structure and they can saw you off in a hurry. But it's all about getting a bite. I mean, once you get a bite, you need to turn that handle and point the rod right at the fish. I know all of us, guys my age, and there's not many of you left, I realize that, but all of us in our generation were taught to put a bend in the rod, pointing that rod at the fish and winding on it. Man, you just get them swimming out like this instead of giving them their head where they can go back into that structure. Danny Cadota, of course, is a guy that is always talking about that. So you get a bite, man, just start turning the handle. Don't pump on the fish. Don't try to short stroke them or anything else. Just wind. Get them away from the structure, and then you're bit. So if you can get bit on the 40-pound fluorocarbon, do it. If you have to drop down to the 20-pound, do it. Again, lead heads work really well. Sometimes a 2-ounce sliding egg sinker works well. Bigger hook. If you're not fishing a lead head, then a 5/0 hook is really in order. It works really, really well. And once again, fishing and watching to see what others are doing to make them successful is part of the game. So keep that in mind. Hey, I've got a couple of dates I want to share with you. January the 21st, La Fogata Restaurant over there in Sherman Oaks, California. I can't wait to be over there. It'll be 1 to 3 in the afternoon. It's going to be great Mexican cuisine. I'll have our charter list available. I can answer any questions. More importantly, it's an opportunity to just hang with you. And my ears are wide open to any suggestions you have about new programs you'd like to see, or how we can improve what we are doing for you, because that's really what we want to do. Improve this for you. Don't forget to hit that like button down there. Share these videos with a friend. Subscribe to the Friedman Adventures channel and tick the bell. You'll be notified when there's new content. Also, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We would deeply appreciate that. January 25th to the 28th, the Bart Hall Show at the Long Beach Convention Center. I'll be over there every single one of those days, wandering around aimlessly. If you see me, just kind of point me in the right direction and tell me everything's going to be okay. And also, April the 4th through the 9th, our 5-day adventure on board the beautiful Independence. That is going to be something else. You can see the phone number and website. Give them a call. We'd love to see you on that one. I'll be there to make sure you're having a great time. Speaking of the Independence and long-range fishing, the boys are on 16-day trips. Royal Polaris, the Red Rooster 3, and the Independence with some great fishing on big yellowfin tuna and wahoo. The focus of these trips is those two species, wahoo and yellowfin tuna, but they catch a variety of other species also, all kinds of grouper and so many other fish, like some big flatheads. That's been really good for some of the boys, like the Red Rooster 3 had a hit on the big Dorado, many other boats also, and it has been flat good fishing on these 16-day trips, and I don't see any slowdown at all. That continues to head in the right direction. We are loving that. Lobster hoop netting, really good at Catalina Island, but also locally, it's been good. Hey, there's a guy back there making halibut drifts, it looks like. To me, we don't see too many boats in here usually. I bet it would be really, really good. I bet that guy's doing well. Hey, if you happen to watch the morning briefing, make sure you drop a comment down below and let us know how you did out there. You know, I was walking down the Malecon, you know, the area right there near where all the boats are in Ensenada, and a guy walks up to me and goes, "Friedman Adventures!" And, you know, it surprised me because the guy, he only spoke Spanish, and he goes, "Watch you every single day." He was one of the captains down there and took us on a tour of his boats. I'll have that content for you a little bit later. I think you're really going to enjoy that. Also, as we take a look up and down the coast, we continue to see some pretty good surf fishing action. We've seen surf fish biting here, and it's gorgeous. Perfect day to do it. Again, a Lucky Crab lure or a chrome crocodile or a little Castmaster. You can pick off some halibut, even some yellowfin croaker. If you fish bait, you can pick off some yellowfin croaker, even a halibut at times. You can catch some sharks and rays, guitar fish, stuff like that. It's a glorious day, and the weather forecast, from what I see, is looking really good. I hope that drilling is not knocking me out of the game here, but they're doing more sand replenishment here as we speak. Big Fish Bait and Tackle on the corner of Seal Beach Boulevard and Pacific Coast Highway. That's where you'll find all the tackle you'll need to be successful here in the Southern California coast. You'll be able to catch all kinds of fish with the bait they have there at Big Fish. And they've got all the tackle, hooks, sinkers, from trout fishing to surf fishing to big game fishing. Big Fish Bait and Tackle has it all for you. Make sure you drop by. And they open really early in the morning. Check with their hours, but I think they're open at 5, for sure by 6. So, I mean, they get you baited up. They get you tackled up so you can come here in the surf and catch some fish. And, man, I'll tell you, there's nothing like surf fishing because you're the captain. You make the decisions. You decide whether to go right or left, to fish here or there. It's kind of fun when you're successful because you feel a sense of accomplishment. No question about that. All right, what else can I tell you? There's a beautiful day here today. Trying to wake up, driving all night. Had a busy 24 hours in Mexico, transporting the clothing down there, and then spending time with my dear friend Diego Nuno, handing it out to some truly wonderful people. I don't know if I should tell you this or not. I guess I could tell you. I don't think he'll mind. So Greg Bates was along with us. Greg has never been to a community like we went to. It's a very poor community. I've lived in communities like that in Mexico, spent some time in communities like that in Costa Rica. And so we were taking care of an elderly gentleman and an elderly woman, and Greg came into her home and started to film it, and it was rough, okay? No amenities at all, no shower. I'm not sure if there was electricity or not, but it was Spartan, worse than Spartan. And we got back in the car and we started to drive away, and Diego and I looked back and Greg was in tears. And it just really shook him up to see the poverty that we saw there with that woman who was down there in Mexico yesterday. So in the end, Greg said it was and had a positive, really positive effect. He said that, people should see this. People should understand there's no safety net here in Mexico. And that's why I thank you all the time for all that you're doing. When I'm handing out clothing down there, I make it really clear. It's not from Friedman Adventures. This is from American citizens who want to reach across the border and help you. And that is one of the most beautiful things about our country, how giving, how kind, how wonderful you all are. And we saw that yesterday, and doing that with my friend Diego Nuno from the Royal Star was truly a blessing indeed. And we'll be back doing a lot more of that in the coming weeks. We're also going to go back down there. Man, I found the barred perch honey hole. I found the guy who knows where it is, and we're trying to coordinate our schedules to go with him, Alexi, and even Tony Lozano, the owner of La Bonita restaurant in Rosarito. He wants to go, and of course Diego Nuno. We're not leaving Diego out, and Greg Bates, he says he's going to go again, so he's threatening once again. So we'll be back to do more of that. Hey, in the meantime, enjoy this beautiful Martin Luther King holiday, and keep that quote in mind from MLK. It's a big one. It's an important one, and it's something to live your life by. Have a great day. And as always, I hope to see you really, really soon.